And this is interesting because remember we were talking about the twisting of the genetic code? Well, it's interesting that it happened at the birth of Jacob on the 22nd generation. That's the twisting of the code. So everybody's going to have to come into one of these 12 gates. And I'm going to just put it like that. So then, every human being that is born is likened unto a city. And in Revelation 21, that city is depicted as a force, as being four squared. And we have to come through one of the gates of the city. So these are the 20 patriarchs, starting from Adam, Seth, Enos, Mahalalel, Jared, 2, 4, 5, 6, another one, and let's see, Methuselah. We see Enoch is the 7th. But basically, there's 10 on this side, and then you come from the flood. You have Shem on this side. You have 10 over here. In other words, you have 10 over here. We have another 10 on this side. Okay, you have Shem all the way and down till we get to Abraham. Okay. Okay, Abraham was the 20th. And then we have two more, which brings us to the 22. But the 20 is important because it represents the number of proteins. And it represents the patriarchs from Adam until Abraham. We have two more generations after Abraham, which brings us to Jacob. And then we have a system of letters. I'm going to show you this out of this book that maybe will make a little more sense. Let's pass this diagram around because it shows the chromosomes. And now, there are 22 chromosomes. Let me just read this first and tell you what it means. It says, the spectral karyotype of human chromosomes. Chromosomes, which means colored bodies, can be readily stained with certain dyes. The differences in size and banding patterns allow the chromosomes to be distinguished from each other. An analysis called karyotyping. Here, each chromosome is labeled with a different color, a technique that is used for identifying chromosomes. But basically, a chromosome, let's just read that so that makes sense. These are the 22 major pairs of genetic information that specify all the information. It's like an alphabet for the body. That's what it is. Alphabet of 22 characters. Now, there's one over here. There's actually 23 here, but the 23rd one doesn't count because all it is a sex determinant gene. All the ones that give the characteristics of the body are 22, just like there are 22 letters that coded for everything in the Hebrew language. So pass this around because this is actually an explanation. So that when you see those 22, start thinking from Adam all the way till you get to Jacob. So Jacob will be number 22 and Adam will be number 1. It's the exact same pattern. Notice, the term chromosome means colored bodies. This is a code that generates colored bodies. I'm looking at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least about 5 different colored bodies in this room. You see what I'm saying? It's a code that generates colored bodies, shows the multifaceted, the character of God. He doesn't want us all to look the same, to be the same, to function the same. But the only way you can get the kind of differentiation that you have is that you have to have a wide gene pool to choose from. Not only are we looking at many colored bodies, but we have so many different types of personalities. We got different types of giftings, different likes and dislikes. All of these had to be coded in the original Adam or in the original DNA. So do I have a strong case for the book, or give me some feedback?
Well, I was looking at this in the different chromosomes. Could it possibly be, okay, there's 20, you said there's 22, what was the 22?
The 22 letters. Now there are 22 letters in the Old Testament Hebrew alphabet. Okay. Now there's 26 in the English alphabet, but I'll tell you this. There's actually, the Hebrew alphabet has vowel markings that help you to pronounce the letters better. So in actuality, there's really one and the same. They're really one and the same. But go ahead and ask your question.
I just wondered, because, could it tell you what tribe you came from?
Oh, for sure. In fact, I'm working on another work here that it's very important to know what tribe you come from. I believe that the very detailed chronologies that we have in the books of Chronicles, the word Chronicles is derived from the root which means chronos, or time. But the word Chronicles actually gives you the most detailed genealogies in the whole Bible, starting from Adam and pretty much all of the side chains, if you will. Okay? So then the book of Chronicles goes all the way from Adam all the way down almost till the Babylonian captivity.
What tribe did you come from?
It tells you the tribal affiliations. Now, I'm going to tell you this, based upon what I understand about how God uses the numbers. Oh, man. Okay. I'm going to stop in this section right here, okay? Maybe we can take a 2-minute break, and then I'm going to go into Simon Peter's net. You do not want to miss this part about Simon Peter's net and about how God converts all of us with all of our different characteristics and all the different names that we have. Take note to how specifically, how some of the biblical characters got their names. Jacob's name was, of course, he was named because he was Twister. You know, and all the different names that were allocated through the patriarchs, they all meant something. But before we can be transformed into the kingdom of God, we're going to have to go through a system of transformations that there is actually a specific equation. And God gave it to Simon Peter, of all people. Let me just show you guys this, all right? I know some of you probably, let me just show you this before we come back, and I don't know where to leave off at. All right, I'm going to use these dots here. When mathematicians use dots in between numbers, it means to multiply. P is the 16th letter. Watch this. P is equals the 16th letter. E is the 5th letter. T is the 20th letter. E is the 5th letter. And R is the 18th letter. Now, I don't want you to trust my calculations. Anybody have a calculator? Anybody care to multiply these out and tell me what you get? No. What did you multiply it? What did you get? You got it right. Gee, I wonder what God might be trying to tell us by that. Thou art Simon, which means a small stone. When you come to Revelation, you see a building that's built together with stones. It's interesting that this same Peter, who we look at and we say, oh, Peter was so silly. He was always shooting off at the mouth. He was always doing this. But God says, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. What is he saying to Simon Peter, whose name is Cephas, a small stone? He's saying that, he said to Simon in John chapter 21, he says, when you were young, you went where you wanted to go, and you dressed yourself and you did what you wanted to do. But when you shall be old, others are going to grab hold of you, they're going to take you where you don't want to go, and they're going to, basically kill you. So he says, in the same chapter, he says, Simon, Simon, Bar-Jonah, do you love me more than these, like you said you did before I was crucified? Feed my lambs. And then at one time he said to Simon, 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 Satan has desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But when you are what? When you are converted, strengthen thy brethren. Why? Is he saying that Simon Peter has some kind of a rock-like strong character that he can strengthen the rest of his brethren? Well, I'd say after this, it's definitely the case. 144,000 mentioned 3 times in Revelation chapter 7, chapter 14, and chapter 21. Each case it talks about a structure around which God is building his city. It's not just by coincidence that Simon was the first disciple, the first one that was called.
If you do Revelation 7, 14, and 21, there's 7 in between.
Exactly,
Numbers.
exactly.
7 between 14 and 7
That's right.
between